think it's gone back to us. And it's kept it. He leans over and goes, "You just made $300,000."
He could be,
Jonte,
JLNT.
Gilmore.
Hansel and I were trying a case. This is years and years ago. And Hansel stopped came down just a little. Right? Wasn't so totally up.
Yeah, I try to. I usually don't.
He's a grown man right here. I said, "You just told him. You're not telling me to tell him."
he was the first judge I heard.
Yeah, just a little more. Yep, that's fine.
He could smell it like dog shit, so he went after me.
That's how he went after me. Like I was always, but that's all the call for was on this case.
I feel like this is not real. Like it's unbelievable that I'm here right now.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know.
But the thing about it is, it is
Nor did a
a
lot of
critical piece and making sure that we kind of shape the narrative of the story. Get the story out to potential jurors.
Well, no, I'm saying like just in this moment, like I go through this every day, where I just have that epiphany, like I'm still alive.
Amen. Uncross my legs. This not happening. It's not good for me.
Would it fall asleep?
Well, yeah, just like catch circulation.
Not really. Your odometer rolled over. You're
I'm
40
here now. Over the hill. Over the hill. You good? You want to lift your chair up?
Touch the
She
floor.
put it down because her feet were.
Yeah, stand up. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Are they all?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Get it now.
So we'll just start in a few minutes. We're just gonna wait for Alexa to settle in, and we'll let her know that she caused population sugar.
Who is this?
Please.
Alexa who?
Alexa with Fox. We won't hold it against her. We understand. Believe me, pardon me. This is jealous, so I get it. She's better with it. Oh, amazing. Even better than even better.
It's a waiting game, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
can do it.
Well, yeah. We're not even gonna do something.
Definitely not when I can take it.
Yeah, especially carrying all the gear. I'm like,
Right on time.
okay. Alexa, we waiting for you. We're gonna have to wait to join us. Ian, you can go. It's just you. Yeah. You ready, Malcolm?
I guess. Is Felicia not coming up?
She can't. Essentially, we can't fit her in the camera shot.
Oh, damn.
Unfortunately.
All right. Well, is everybody else ready?
Thank you.
You guys let me know. Mr. Sims, what's going on, my brother? I'm doing well. All right. Well, welcome everyone to Murphy, Falcon, and Murphy. And today I get the distinct honor of playing Billy Murphy today. My name is Malcolm Ruff. I am a lawyer, trial lawyer here at the Murphy firm. And I want to introduce the folks that are with me today. First to my left, Larry Greenberg, who's a lawyer and the principal at the Greenberg Law Offices. And I have Andrew O'Connell, who is a partner here, a trial lawyer at Murphy, Falcon, and Murphy. And then to my right is April Hurley. April was a victim of a heinous, terrible home invasion, assault, torturing, sexual assault, and she was almost burned to death by Jason Billingsley. And we're here today filing a civil lawsuit not only against Mr. Billingsley, but also against her landlord and property manager at the location, the apartment where she was living when this happened. This is a sad occasion. It's a tough moment for Ms. Hurley. She endured a situation that has changed her life forever. And she is here because the folks that are responsible for what happened to her, Mr. Billingsley, Eden's Homes, which was the management company that was managing the property at 842 Edmondson Avenue, and Property Pals, which was the LLC that owned the property where Ms. Hurley was renting an apartment, need to make her whole. That's why we filed this lawsuit. So at this time, I would actually like to see if April would be willing to make an opening statement. Then I will talk a bit about the lawsuit and what our allegations are. And then Mr. O'Connell will take some time to talk about why we're here and where we go from here. So I don't know, April, if you feel up to being able to make a statement.
Yes.
So whatever you do, just make sure you speak up.
The fact that I'm sitting here in front of you guys today is honestly a miracle. Sometimes it's still unbelievable that I'm here. Jason Billingsley literally tried to take my life. He tried to take my life, and this could have been prevented, and he would have never had the chance if these people, my former landlord and former property manager, did not hire him.
Thank you. Thank you, April. Well, as you heard, we should not be here. This should never have happened. But what this lawsuit entails is the harrowing evening that April had to endure, along with Jonte Gilmore, who is her co-plaintiff, who is unable to be here today. They were in her apartment, which was in the basement of 842 Edmondson Avenue. She had been renting the apartment, and they were there together. Jason Billingsley, who was employed by the property management company and owner of this property as a helper, a maintenance person, entered into this home where April was living, where she deserved to have privacy and security. And April knew Mr. Billingsley. When he came into the home, he knocked on her door and lured her out of her apartment. He hit her in the head with a gun, and he dragged her back downstairs into her apartment. He tied her and Mr. Gilmore up and proceeded to torture them. He sexually assaulted April while she was tied up. He forced Mr. Gilmore to sit idly by while he was essentially kidnapped and tied up, and had to listen to April being tortured by Jason Billingsley. Now, the name Jason Billingsley is familiar to Baltimore because only 6 days after this incident, Jason Billingsley then attacked Pavla Pear on Franklin Street and killed her after sexually assaulting her. Fortunately for April and for Jonte, they were able to survive this terrible, horrific assault. After Mr. Billingsley had tortured them and assaulted April, he then spread an accelerant across the entire apartment and tried to set the entire apartment and Jonte and April on fire. They both sustained terrible burns to their body. And before that, Jason also attempted to cut April's neck. And you can see that she still bears the scars from his attempts to slice her neck. Leave no bones about it, he tried to kill them. Jason Billingsley tried to kill April Hurley and Jonte Gilmore. The problem that we have with what happened here and why it is so preventable, was that it is clear to us that Eden's Homes and Property Pals did not look into Mr. Billings' background. He was a repeat violent offender. He had sexually assaulted a woman and been sentenced to serve 16 active years in jail back in 2013. And he had been released well before his sentence had ended. If Eden's Homes and Property Pals had cared to take the time to look into his background, they would never and should never have let someone with that record, with that known propensity for violence, to be in someone's private space, in their residence, and to have access to their home. And that is why we are here today. Because April had the courage and the bravery to survive this event, and Jonte had the bravery and the courage to survive this event despite having burns all over their bodies. They had to jump out of a basement window in order to get to safety. And so we filed a lawsuit today in the Baltimore City Circuit Court that recounts those facts. And we filed against all three defendants counts of battery, assault, false imprisonment, trespass, negligence, negligent hiring, supervision, training, and retention, premises liability, and breach of lease. And we intend to take this case to trial to achieve justice for Ms. Hurley and Mr. Gilmore. I'd like to hand the mic to my colleague, Mr. O'Connell, for some comments about the significance of this case and where we go from here.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew O'Connell, and I'm a partner here at Murphy, Falcon Murphy. Today, our hearts weigh heavy as we advocate for Ms. Hurley and Mr. Gilmore, individuals whose sense of security was cruelly stripped away. I extend my deepest gratitude to Ms. Hurley for being with us here today and having the courage to say something about this. Her resilience in the face of a vicious and reprehensible assault is truly unmatched by what I've seen in my 20 years. There is no doubt in my mind Jason Billingsley wanted to kill April Hurley and Jonte Gilmore. Jason Billingsley acted alone, but had an accomplice. That accomplice was the negligence and incompetence of the companies that hired him as a maintenance person for the property. Today's announcement of this lawsuit underscores the dire consequences of negligent hiring practices by Eden Homes and Property Pals. Their failure to diligently vet Jason Billingsley has led to an egregious breach of security and an unimaginable nightmare for Ms. Hurley and Mr. Gilmore. By allowing this violent criminal to slip through the cracks, they not only endanger the safety of our clients, but also shatter the tranquility of what it means to be home. Now, our firm, we firmly believe in second chances. We have worked for decades to support returning citizens reintegrating into society. But our ban-the-box laws mean that you can still conduct an adequate background check of a potential employee before you offer that person a job, especially where that person has access to people's homes. We believe that didn't happen here. Instead, Eden Homes and Properly Pals brazenly hired a person with a lengthy history of committing violent acts, violent crimes, which included convictions for first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and first-degree sexual offense, spanning from the years 2009 when he paroled, from 2009 into when he was paroled in October of 2022. With that history, they allowed him access to their properties. They made him the maintenance man. They entrusted a violent predator with the safety of innocent families. This is mind-blowingly reckless. As the complaint that was filed this morning describes, Mr. Hurley and Mr. Gilmore were sleeping and heard a voice from the top of the stairs where Mr. Billingsley truthfully identified himself as the maintenance man. You have a flood in the kitchen. He was the maintenance man. That's what they hired him to do. Eden Homes and Property Pals made a grave error by hiring Billingsley, who was clearly unfit for this position of trust. Even a cursory background check would have prevented my clients from enduring such a harrowing ordeal. By inadvertently and inadequately vetting this candidate, they granted access to a violent criminal who inflicted unimaginable harm on Baltimore City residents. This is just not a breach of protocol. It is a breach of trust and a violation of the very essence of what we call home, what it signifies, and the safety that it affords us. We rightfully seek damages from Billingsley for the attack, but we also seek damages from Eden Homes and Property Pals for the negligence they perpetrated by hiring Billingsley to oversee their properties, including where Ms. Hurley lived. This should not have happened, and this was an avoidable tragedy. Now, for over 2 decades, I've navigated the intricacies of legal battles representing a diverse range of clients, from multinational corporations to individuals and families impacted by mass torts and often grappling with security issues just like this. Today, we recognize and honor the extraordinary courage and determination of Ms. Hurley. Her unwavering resolve serves as a powerful inspiration, motivating us all to stand up beside her and fight. I'm going to turn this back over to Mr. Ruff.
It is your bravery that brings us here today. And I just want you to know that by taking this step for legal action, I hope that we will all accomplish together making sure that something like this does not happen to other folks. I also just want to put a point on this, that we all know that violence against Black and brown women is becoming an unspoken epidemic. We know that since COVID, violent crime has risen, but against Black and brown women, it's risen far and above any other demographic, about 33% more than normal, than before. Jason Billingsley is in jail now. He faces the penalties for the crime that he committed against Pablo Lapierre, and also for what he did to Jonte and to April. But there's some questions that have to be asked about why this incident was treated differently than the incident, than the terrible assault that happened and the death of Pablo Lapierre. These incidents happened less than a mile away from each other. but Miss Hurley's incident happened on the other side of MLK Boulevard. Why was there no mention after Miss Hurley and Mr. Gilmore were violently attacked during a home invasion? She was sexually assaulted. They were almost burned alive. Why did the Baltimore Police Department categorize this as an arson? Why wouldn't we want the public to know how heinous and serious this situation was? And maybe that actual proper and accurate categorization of what happened to these black people on the other side of MLK might have saved Pablo LaPere's life. But instead, their pain, their attack was treated differently. And we're here to ask, why is that? And that it should never happen again. Again, your presence here, it shows your resilience, and I hope that we can move forward with this legal action so that all property owners know that you must take the proper steps to honor and respect the people that are renting from you, to protect their privacy, protect the sanctity of their safety. And with that, we will take a few questions from the media.
If she's up to, could Ms. Hurley share with us just the impacts, whether it's ability to work or inability or sleep or nightmares, or just what she's had to live with since then, what impacts it's had on her life, if she's up to?
Well, I think the statements that she's made is what we're going to offer today. As you know, we have a whole litigation process to go through in this case. However, I can tell you that every aspect of her life has been changed. From not working right now because of how she feels and her mental state, to her family life being upended. She had to move, obviously, and to change everything about what she was doing in life. She was working. She was taking care of her child. She was, in fact, I remember at the beginning of us working together, the phrase that I remember her saying was, I was living my best life. She was living her best life. And then it was all turned upside down because of negligence, because of apathy, and because of a psycho killer being out there, and no one taking the time or care to ensure that he didn't have access to her most private place on the earth.
I have a couple questions. Would you just clarify for me, Eden Homes, Property Pals, the property, can you distinguish the two?
So, like I mentioned at the outset, Eden's Homes was the property manager for 842 Edmondson Avenue, and Property Pals is the LLC that owned the property, and they still own the property.
Through your investigation so far, has Mr. Billingsley had any other run-ins as the maintenance person with any other properties, any other renters within Eden's Homes or Property Pals, and to what extent have these plaintiffs had run-ins with him previously? I know you've mentioned that you knew of him as the maintenance man. Kind of what past run-ins have you had?
So as to your first question, we have not found any other instances of Mr. Billingsley having violated anyone who was renting from Eden's Homes and Property Pals. Ms. Hurley and I have discussed the fact that she had seen him at the property previously. So that was the extent of her contact with him, knowing that he was around the property and doing work around the property. But I think the more important question is, the more important thing about Mr. Billingsley is how much terror he has caused in this city and in this town. I mean, you can look at the woman that he assaulted in 2013. I just recently found that she had an interview where, while in the interim between when Jason Billingsley killed Pavel Lepere and when they captured him at the MARC train station, she was in complete fear, thinking that he was coming to find her, all the way from back in 2013. This man was a clear red flag, and Eden's Homes and Property Pals completely ignored it.
One of the things that you mentioned was dealing with the way that the police handled this investigation and categorized it as arson. And I'm just wondering if you and Ms. Hurley have had any conversation, or if there's anything that you can share indicating how she feels about the investigation and what she wants from police.
Well, just be clear, we are not suing the Baltimore City Police Department in this lawsuit. She felt disrespected. I mean, she felt that the different treatment about her assault and her attack was based on their location, being in a part of the Black Butterfly of Baltimore City, as opposed to being in Mount Vernon, where the second attack happened. I mean, we're talking about 6 days apart and 0.7 miles apart. Why the different treatment? There can only be a couple of reasons. The location is the difference, and the race of the people is the difference. And that has an effect. I mean, think about the response from the community that could have happened. Think about the vigilance of the community that should have happened. Think about the efforts that should have been happening to stop Jason Billingsley and to find him in those 6 days. That would have been different if this had been categorized as a home invasion, sexual assault, as opposed to a mere arson.
Do you foresee any future action given what you're saying?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Any future action against BPD given what you're saying?
No, not by us.
I just want to make sure I'm clear on one point. At the heart of the lawsuit, is it that he represented, because he was hired as a maintenance man, the property manager and the landlord? Or in part is this because they didn't do a background check, and are those even required by Maryland law?
Sure. The heart of the lawsuit is obviously Mr. Billingsley's actions, horrific as they were, but also the two companies that are defendants in this case gave him the opportunity to do that. Eden's Homes and Property Pals were negligent. They could have, even a cursory background check of this individual.
Is that required though, by state law?
When you are, there's no specific state statute requiring this, no, but there's a duty to look into somebody's background when you hire them, and especially when that individual is going to be given a position of trust, and particularly where they're going to have access to your home, which is where it's our most sacred space.
Are you all seeking compensatory damages for each of the plaintiffs individually, or is the amount listed what will go to both plaintiffs?
So I'm going to hand this off to Mr. Greenberg. As you know, he has his own firm, but we are handling this matter together.
So the answer is each, while they're filed together, each have a separate claim for compensatory and for, and I can get into it, but economic, the medical bills that both suffered as a result of the senseless acts were tremendous, as well as the non-economic damages and punitives that occur. When I sit here and I think about the safety of the community, and then you boil it down, and Andrew said it many times, when you give somebody the key to someone's home, that person should be, I mean, the most vetted individual in the history of time should be somebody who's going to come into your place, to your home, because you trust the landlord, you trust the maintenance workers to not do harm to you, and this senseless behavior was needlessly done because of the negligence, and I would say gross negligence of the defendants.
Take one last one.
So when we had talked earlier about the police response, police had sort of earlier indicated that they believed that Ms. Hurley and Mr. Gilmore were targeted by Billingsley directly. Is that something that you found in your investigation so far?
Well, this is the beginning of the litigation. We obviously have conducted our own independent investigation, but there's a lot of information that is going to be revealed through the discovery process. We look very much forward to beginning that process and getting even more deeply into the facts of what happened here and exactly why, right? There's a lot of questions that we have that are unanswered at this point, but we intend to uncover every stone and to make sure that the truth is known in this case.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Could the speaker say and spell their names real quick, just so we get them spelled right?
Yes. So this is April Hurley, APRILHURLEY. I'm Malcolm Ruff, MALCOLMRUFF.
Andrew O'Connell. Andrew as it's normally spelled, and it's O''CONNELL.
And Larry, Larry Greenberg, GREENBERG.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.